Thank you for listening to Comics for Fun and Profit. This is episode 548 for comics releasing January 8th, 2020. This is Kyle and Drew with your sneak peek at next week, along with a few other bits of news and some other discussions. So, Kyle, Drew, how are you guys doing tonight? Hello? Hello? Huh. How do you like that? Stand a guy up and have him do a recording all on his own. I'm just kidding. Drew and Kyle could not make it this week, and just figured, you know what? We shouldn't let this recording go. We should have something, a little bit of content out there for all of you folks that are diehard listeners. So, for those of you that don't know my voice, I am Eric. I am from Cowabunga Comics. I have been on the podcast here and there. I believe I was on the last episode that was released. And I just thought, you know what? I know what these guys do. I've done it with them before, so let's go ahead and have an episode. So it's going to be a little truncated. It's going to be a solo act, and we're not going to be digging in maybe quite as deep as what Kyle and Drew would do, but I wanted to make sure there was something out there. So, in keeping with the pattern of what those guys like to go through, I figure we'll go through some of the cover price top 10. I thought we would look at the FOC like we normally do. The C4FaP bundle has reemerged. I want to go over that, and then we'll look at what's coming out. So that's the show. That's what we're going to do. So hopefully it's not too bumpy of a ride and you enjoy it. So let's go ahead and get things kicked off. We're going to look at the cover price top 10, and I know Drew does a couple of different things. There's a weekly top 10 of books that are selling, which is kind of a mix of newer and older books as well as the top movers. So what I did was I just looked at the lists and kind of picked out a few of the key pieces of information. So I think our number one weekly top 10 and one of our top mover, which is a high unit sale books, was the Miles Morales Spider-Man number 13. This book came out not that long ago and had a couple of different covers on it. The A cover has sold at one point upwards of $20. It's kind of in that 10 to 15 range right now. And the Venom Island, which was an unlocking cover, so this was not a ratio. This was one where you had to meet a certain sales threshold to be able, or a certain order threshold, I should say, to be able to get it, is selling around $30. If you want to know more about those thresholds and stuff like that, jump on over to the Comic Book Page podcast and look for the monthly comic book page numbers episodes. I'm on the single issues, and then co-hosted with Sam, and then of course our main host John Mayo. And then also there's a trades episode with TJ. On the single issue episode, we will go through some of these things like the unlocking ones. We've talked in the past about what that means, how you have to hit them, things like that. But just know if you see that Venom Island unlocked cover, that's a good one to get, especially if you get it at cover price. Like I said, it's selling for about $30 right now on eBay. This book features the first appearance of Billy Morales. That seems to be the big driving power behind it. So, keep your eyes out for that. Next up on the recent book list is Star Wars The Rise of Kylo Ren number 1. This was a book that I think was overall a little bit under-ordered. I think a lot of it had to do with the latest movie, obviously, that came out, but this is also the first appearance of Ben Solo in comic book form. This book at one point was really doing hot. It was selling around $35, $40 for a raw copy of the A cover, but has since settled down to about $20. So still pretty good investment if you can get it for that initial cover price. The ratio variants hold their own. They're doing pretty good as well. But the A cover seems to be your best flip if you can get it for cover price. And a smattering in here of other older books like the first appearance of Carnage, ASM 361. We've got She-Hulk number 1. There's Wolverine number 1. So there's a handful of pretty standard books that a lot of us already know of. One other book that I want to call out that could actually be a little bit of a long-term hold if you can find it at a good price is a book that came out in early December called Kill Whitey Donovan, number 1. This is a Dark Horse book, if memory serves me correctly. and it sold at one point in the early part of December for up to $20 for just an A cover. The B cover seemed to have a little bit more heat, with more sales around that $20 figure, but the A cover slipped to 10 and is now down to $3.99, kind of that cover price. But this one I think is a long-term hold because it has been optioned. That's why the price initially spiked. But with this particular property, and something that'll be a recurring theme that I think you'll find maybe in some of the other things I discussed tonight, is that these types of properties that use standard humans, put them in relatively non-heroic, non-super type of situations, can turn into actual television properties, movie properties, much easier than things that require a significant amount of CGI, special effects, whatever you want to call it. So those are the ones that I'm going to say. If you can get them for cover price, either turn around and flip Kylo Ren #1, the Star Wars Rise of Kylo Ren #1, or Miles Morales 13. Those are the ones you want to flip right away. Kill Whitey Donovan if you can find it at cover price. Hold one, maybe hold two, just to see what happens, because for $3.99 could be worth it. It could be something like Y the Last Man or Saga, where they just they kind of start with a flash, go back down to low, and then as heat grows, they continue. So that again is what I pulled off of Cover Price. That's covrprice.com. I know Drew really likes to look at their stuff. They do have a paid component to their site. I don't pay for that, but you can absolutely jump on and look at it if you'd like. You can search by comic title and issue number. You can look at the top hot comics, top key comics, top rare finds, top variants. There's all sorts of good stuff. They've got new stuff, retro stuff. They track high sales. They show you what the new releases are. So it's a pretty cool site. It's not necessarily one that we use in our store as part of our standard repertoire, but I know Drew's been calling them out, so I want to stick with that, because you know what? We're not here to really rock the boat. We're here to just keep her going. So with that, let's keep her going, and let's talk a little bit about the C4FaP bundle that I'm putting together here for the January previews. As we talked about in the past, and if you weren't aware of what it is, I do an order form every month for customers, just like I do the FOC, that you can go ahead and put an order in for the books that you'd like to buy. And part of that is I offer bundles. And one of the bundles that I offer is a DC bundle, a Marvel bundle. I offer a unique Aftershock bundle, so all Aftershock single issues. I have those in my bundle, and I think I've met 45% off, which is probably better than any discount you're going to find anywhere else. Valiant bundle. So a lot of things like that. Oh, I have a Hill House bundle, so if you're a big Joe Hill fan, you probably like that. But what we used to do, had done in the past, was we'd have a Comics for Fun and Profit Spec Pick bundle. So we had some feedback towards the end of 2019 saying, hey, is that ever going to come back again? I put it on Drew and Kyle. I'm game for it every month. If they want to pick out 4 books, we can work out a good price and get it out there for everybody. So we decided, what the heck, let's kick off the year with a strong foot. So we're going to go ahead and do another C4FaP Spec Pick bundle. This month, the bundle is going to be 4 books. As per usual, they're back half books, 2 A covers and 2 B covers. So the first one that we're going to do is order code January 201444, and this is Billionaire Island #1. Specifically, the Guerra cover, the Guerra variant. But Billionaire Island #1 comes to us from Ahoy Comics. It's written by Mark Russell with art and covers. Well, the art is by Steve Pugh, and again, the Pia Guerra cover is what we're going to look at. I think it's Pia Guerra. It's either Pia or RM, but I'm pretty sure it's Pia. But either way, Mark Russell, the writer, has also written DC's Flintstones, Second Coming. So a lot of really strong writing material right off the bat there. This listed as a savage satire reuniting the critically acclaimed team behind DC's The Flintstones, Mark Russell and Steve Pugh, in an all-new creator-owned series. Welcome to Billionaire Island, where anything goes if you can afford it. But the island's ultra-rich inhabitants are about to learn that their ill-gotten gains come at a very high price. So, it could be interesting, intrigue, and again, going back to what I had said about Kill Whitey Donovan. If you're talking about, an island, people on an island, sounds kind of like Lost maybe, but much easier to put together as some sort of a film or television property. So, could be a fun one to actually look at. Next up is order code January 1608. Resistance number 1 with the A cover by Raza. This is from a new publisher, AWA Studios, which I believe stands for Artists, Writers, and Artisans. This particular book is written by J. Michael Straczynski and has Mike Deodato Jr. art inside, and again, that cover by Raza. There's a couple other number ones for AWA, but I wanted to pick one that I thought really kind of had a little bit of an oomph. The cover by Raza is amazing, and the solicit reads, J. Michael Straczynski, creator of Babylon 5 and co-creator of Sense 8, and writer of beloved runs on The Amazing Spider-Man, Thor, and Superman Earth 1, returns to comics teaming with Mike Deodato Jr., the blockbuster artist of The Amazing Spider-Man and Incredible Hulk and Infinity Wars. Together they plant the flag for a new universe of heroes and villains. A global disaster leaves hundreds of millions dead in its wake. Shortly after, a few thousand suddenly manifest superhuman powers. Are they harbingers of more perils to come, or Earth's last hope? So that one I thought sounded pretty great too. Kind of maybe creating a new superhero universe, always something fun. Sorry if you hear pages turning, I'm using the giant Bible of previews. The third book that we've got for the bundle is January 201945, coming to us from Red 5 Comics, and this one is Dragon Whisperer. Written by Alex DeLuca, with art and covers by Glenn Fernandez. In a world of clockwork and steam, cursed airship captain Alexander Falk endures his centuries-long quest for an end to his torment, a dragon. His ceaseless pursuit bears scarce reward. That is, until Falk discovers the bridge between the world of man and the world of monsters. Her name is Rosalinda Eberhardt, and she is the Dragon Whisperer. Red 5 has been a publisher that has been kind of flashes here and there. They've had some great number ones that turned into good, quick spec flips. They've also had some nice wrap-ups, some nice like 5-issue runs, things like that. I'm personally a big fan of kind of the steampunk stuff. I enjoy it quite a bit. So when this one showed up, I thought that would be a nice entry into this as well. So something a little bit different, but also I think still kind of cool. I'm like I said, steampunk is awesome. Dragons are really cool. So felt like a fun one to have. And lastly, the fourth and final book in the C4FaP bundle for January is going to be item code January 201960. This is North Bend number 1, and specifically we are looking at the Tula Lotte B cover. This is written by Ryan Ellsworth with art by Rob Carey, and the solicit reads, in the not-too-distant future, the U.S. is at war against Russia and its own people. The country is on the verge of economic collapse and political revolution. Desperate to regain control, the CIA recruits Seattle DEA agent Brendan Krug to test an experimental mind control drug on unwitting Americans. Compelled by his sense of duty to his country, Brendan struggles to keep his life from falling apart as he tries to reconcile his personal beliefs with the security of the nation. Yet again, another case where, putting real people in a real-life situation. Obviously, Russia exists, America exists, so I think that this would be another one that could turn into a property pretty quickly and easily, and would potentially bear fruit, maybe easier than some other number ones that are in this previews, especially in the back half. There's a lot more animated type feel, which can happen, obviously. There's a lot of sci-fi stuff, a lot of things that would require special effects. So again, our C4FaP bundle is going to be Billionaire Island number 1, the Guerra cover, Resistance number 1, the Raza cover, Dragon Whisperer number 1, and North Bend number 1, Tula Lotte cover. Now these 4 books, if you were buying them straight up with cover price, would be $15.92. We got 3 books that are $3.99 and a $3.95. So $15.92 would be the standard retail price. I'm going to do 45% off on all of these. So the bundle is going to be $8.76. If you're not a subscriber or a purchaser from Cowabunga Comics, but you want the bundle, not a problem. I do have a small shipping fee that I have to include, but if you're just going to buy the bundle or maybe a couple sets of the bundles, we can work something out. So feel free to reach out to me. My email is Eric, ERIC, at Cowabunga Comics. That's Cowabunga with a K.com. and we'll get you hooked up. We'll make it happen. But for everybody else who is a subscriber who's out there and looking for these bundles, those are the books. Let me know, better yet, let Drew and Kyle know what you think of the books, because they had a little hand in this too. Let us know if you think they're going to be good ones, which one you think is going to be your favorite of the four, and feel free to chime in if you think there's books that are coming up that we should include as well. All right. Now for the good stuff. Let's get over to the FOC email. I shot out the email Friday evening, as I normally do, and the books that I highlighted for this week's FOC. I should explain. Kyle does that. FOC is the final order cutoff. This is the last opportunity to order a book and ensure that it comes and is delivered for you. If you're a subscriber, your items are automatically added, but for anybody else who's going and hoping to go into a store and find a book on the shelf, the only way to absolutely guarantee is if the publisher uses FOC and they have it, the retailer has their order in by this Monday, which is in our case January 6th, and is ready to go. So I always do an FOC email every Friday, usually in the afternoon, but sometimes in the evening, depending on what I have with my work life and family life and things like that. But what it always includes is all the books that are on FOC for the major publishers. So Image, Dark Horse, DC, IDW, Marvel, Dynamite, Boom, and it also has back half publishers. And I want to try and not miss anybody. So the publishers that are particularly on there from the back half are Action Lab, Aftershock, Archie, Oni, Titan, Valiant, Zenoscope, and then there's a few other random ones in there that utilize the FOC as well, which is great. So with that being said, I sent out the email and I highlighted 6 books this week. Sometimes I do 4, sometimes I do 6. Sometimes if I'm really busy, I do 0. But the 4 that I picked out, or the 6 that I picked out this time, were Frankenstein Undone #1 of 5 from Dark Horse by Mike Mignola. Next up was DC Comics Event Leviathan hardcover by Brian Michael Bendis. I usually go single issues, but sometimes there's a hardcover that catches my eye. I did use Usagi Yojimbo Color Classics #1 from IDW. And then for Marvel, we have Deadpool the End #1, as well as Star Wars The Rise of Kylo Ren #1, second printing Crane, and then the Quantum and Woody #1 from Valiant. So those are the issues that I highlighted on my email, and let's dig into the actual spreadsheet. Take a look at what we've got. So we'll start in Dark Horse because for whatever reason alphabetically they come up here first. Makes sense. DA before DC. We've got Frankenstein Undone #1 is I think the only new #1 that they have. Couple of continuing series. They've got Witchfinder Reign of Darkness #3 is out there. And then a smattering of hardcovers. Now, if you're a D&D player, you might have heard of or gotten into Critical Role, which was, I think it's a podcast that then spawned a comic book called Critical Role Vox Machina. But Critical Role hardcover volume 1 is out there on FOC this week. Traditionally $39.99, retail price $23.99 through me. And then for kids in Dark Horse, there's also the Disney Frozen True Treasure trade paperback. It's a $10.99 retail price that I've got at $6.59. A couple other fun things like some EC Archives Impact. Dark Horse does a really great job of putting these nice EC hardcovers together. Some good, creepy, eerie, all sorts of great stuff. Those are $49.99 that I throw out for $29.99. So if you're one of those guys that likes some of that old EC work, that's definitely the place to look for it. And I think that's pretty much going to close out Dark Horse. So if we bump over to DC Comics, we have kind of the same traditional pattern that we have had. We've got their A covers, and then they've got their Bs that may be card stocks that add $1. So right off the bat, we have Action Comics 1019 with a cardstock variant. That is one that I call out. I absolutely love Lucio Perillo's artwork, and this is one of his variant covers. So I would highly recommend, if you are a collector of really great art, grab that. Now, Lucio Perillo, commonly known for doing female figures, has done quite a few covers recently for, I want to say, Red Sonja Vampirella at Dynamite. But if you look at his Superman, I think you'll agree that he's one of those creators like Alex Ross where he can get away with doing pretty much anything and it looks stellar. So I'm going to recommend you guys take a look at that Action Comics 1019 Perillo cardstock. What else do we have coming out from DC? Lots of Batman stuff. We've got some trades, some hardcovers, Batman Giant number 3. There's all sorts of stuff. Some action figures. Honestly, the Batman shelves are getting a little overcrowded, so I'm not going to dig too deep onto those. I think there's a little bit too much maybe coming out. We've got Joker Harley Criminal Sanity number 3. Number 2 sold really well. It's a $5.99 book that we've got for $3.59. This book sold incredibly well for us. Number 2 was one of the highest selling books on eBay. It was only going at cover price, but hey, if you get it at a discount and you're almost doubling your money, it's not bad. But this has been a good story. People are really digging into it and liking it, so I would recommend that one. And what else do we have on here? Not a whole lot from DC. A lot of collected stuff. Some Green Lantern Black Stars. I know some people are hit or miss on it. I personally have been enjoying just the goofiness of Grant Morrison through his Green Lantern run. I try not to hold it too heavy, and it's been enjoyable, but others may not like it, and that's totally fine because there are certain books that are coming out from the publishers that I don't like because they're not the characters I want to read. So no worries there. Let's flip into IDW. Take a look at a couple things we've got going on there. Narcos number 2. So if you were a big fan of the Narcos TV series, that streaming series from Netflix, I enjoyed the first, I think it's 3 seasons are out, maybe the 4th season's come out, but definitely enjoyed the first 2 more than the 3rd, but they were all really great. We've got both an A cover and a 1 in 10 cover from IDW. These are good if you like those Netflix stories, kind of jumps on from there. And then on top of that, we've got TMNT ongoing number 102. We had a number of people in the store jump onto TMNT with issue 100. I see no reason why that slows down now. It's continuing to be a hot property with Jenica being added, and we're back down to $3.99 cover prices for A and B. So that's great. And then again, that Usagi Yojimbo Color Classics, it's a $3.99 book that for this number 1 I'm putting out for $2. Flipping over into Image, right off the bat, we've got Criminal number 12. If you're an Ed Brubaker fan, who is a writer I absolutely love. Criminal was a series that he had done for a number of years. I think there were 7 or 8 trades that came out, and now he's back on it again. They're up to issue 12. You do not need to have read everything before this to be able to read this run. Of course, there's some good filler information if you want to know who T. Lawless is and things like that. But by all means, jump on, grab the trades. It's fantastic stuff. I'm going to call out for Drew. His Ice Cream Man, number 17, is on FOC this week. And Philadelphia number 3. Philadelphia has been a huge hit. I think a lot of it has to do with the great covers, but the story seems to be compelling. People are getting interested in it. So Philadelphia number 3, also on FOC this week. And Protector number 1 is a new Image comic. This one's coming out from Simon Roy and Daniel M. Benson with art from half of the artists in the world, I think. I'm kidding. There's only 3 of them, and they all have names that are hard to pronounce, so I'm not going to even try. But it's a series premiere from Simon Roy, Sideways award-winning author Daniel M. Benson, and the artist names I can't pronounce comes a sci-fi adventure, equal parts Conan the Barbarian, Mad Max, and The Expanse. Of all the tribes that dwell in the hot ruins of far future North America, the Hudsoni reign supreme, but even they fear and obey the godlike divas. When the divas warn of an old-world demon in the conquered city of Chicago, Hudsoni war chief First Knife decides to deal with the threat personally. So that's your Image number 1 that's on FOC this week, and I know that's going to get a lot of attention, so I want to make sure you're all aware of that. And I think that pretty much rounds up for anything big and special in Image. Actually, I lied. If you're a fan of Sex Criminals number 26 is coming out. And if you are a fan of Sex Criminals, you probably know of their XXX variant covers. And this issues XXX variant cover comes from Jason Latour, artist of Southern Bastards and a number of other things. So just a fair heads up on that. Now we can flip ourselves over to Marvel and see what we've got cooking here, which is of course going to be a ton of stuff because there was a couple weeks off. Boom. Let's see. Spider-Man right off the top here. We've got Amazing Spider-Man Daily Bugle #1. It's going to be a new series. I would assume it's going to be, it's a 1 of 5. And it is something that comes right out of Amazing Spider-Man. And let's see here. The journalist must speak truth to power, whether or not it's wielded responsibly. Helmed by Peter Parker's mentor, Robbie Robertson, the Daily Bugle staff is at last chasing stories that matter. And in a city under Mayor Wilson Fisk, keeping the public informed is as essential as it is dangerous. Weaving between events in Amazing Spider-Man and Daredevil, Matt Johnson, Hellblazer Special, Papa Midnight, Incognito, Loving Day, and Mac Chatter, Black Panther and the Crew, Briggs Land, are following a lead into Kingpin and Spider-Man's past that will change the way you look at the web-slinger now and as his story continues. So if you're a fan of Spider-Man and Daredevil, this is definitely a book you want to pick up as it fits right in with those right now. Let's see what else. Avengers of the Wastelands, #1. This is from Ed Brisson, who is definitely a podcast favorite writer. It says, a new story from the world of Old Man Logan. In a world where most of the superheroes fell at the hands of the Red Skull over 50 years ago, a new force rises in the Wastelands. Danny Cage wields the mighty Mjolnir for the cause of peace, but when the brutal regime of Dr. Doom forces Dwight, aka the owner of the surviving Ant-Man technology, to Danny and Hulk in a last-ditch effort to survive, the Avengers may assemble once more. Spinning out of the saga begun in Old Man Logan, and following up Old Man Quill and Dead Man Logan, this is the can't-miss premiere of Ed Brisson and Jonah Sharp's magnum opus. Now, I know there's a number of folks who really enjoyed Old Man Logan and Old Man Quill, and Dead Man Logan as well, so this might be something that you want to just finish that all off with, a nice little nightcap if it were on the top. We have Captain America The End, Captain Marvel The End, #1. Those are coming out. The one thing I'm going to call out with Captain Marvel #1 is there is a Peach Momoko variant on this one, and it is I think it's an open-to-order variant if I'm not mistaken. Peach Momoko, her variants have kind of picked up steam, which is kind of interesting because she came out of nowhere. She had a Spider-Gwen cover that really shot up, and that was a 1 in 25. But some of her covers that are open to order also find a way to jump a little bit because people just aren't aware of her. So I would say if you're someone who likes to spec on some variant covers, that might be one worth taking a little flyer on. Let's see what else we got. Deadpool The End #1, which was featured in the email itself. Doctor Strange The End #1, and not to be confused with Mark Waid's Doctor Strange #2. And I will say there was a secret variant to Doctor Strange #1, the A cover. It's about a 1 in 10, had a slightly different instrument in his hand. So if you are going through your LCS and you happen to see a stack of Doctor Strange #1, take a spin through, and if you see a cover that doesn't look like the rest, you might have just found a little something fun. Let's see what else we got. Falcon and Winter Soldier #1 poster. So if you're a big poster fan, you can pick that guy up. Let's see. Immortal Hulk #30. Immortal Hulk continues to sell very well. It's definitely something that we see a lot of folks coming into the store picking up, and it's something that I would say if you haven't been reading, just as a readership item, get on it. And if you happen to find a store that has some of the first probably 5 or 6 issues at cover price, first prints, pick those up because you can't go wrong. The first issue itself, I think, goes for anywhere between $10 and $20. It's an Alex Ross cover. It's a great, beautiful cover. But that's definitely a good one to have. Let's see, what else do we have here? A lot of second printings. Here we go. Ravencroft #1 by Frank Thierry with art by Angel Unzueta. So maybe it's Angel Unzueta. And this is Ravencroft reopened. After the hellish horrors of absolute carnage, the Ravencroft Institute has received a much-needed facelift and is open for business with a new staff, including John Jameson, looking to atone for the part he played in Absolute Carnage. But will Ravencroft return the mentally unstable villains of the Marvel Universe to upstanding citizens and give John the redemption he's looking for? Or will they fall prey to the hospital's seemingly sinister nature? So obviously this is Marvel's Arkham. and definitely something that I think we're going to have a number of those folks that were Absolute Carnage fans jumping over to. What else do we have here? Oh, Star Wars #2. This is a great one. If you are a fan of Empire Strikes Back, this is the Star Wars book that you should be reading. It takes place right after Empire, so not really a ton of Han Solo going to be seen in this because he's in Carbonite. But I think we're looking forward to seeing some Luke and Lando shenanigans in this comic series in between the movies. So keep an eye out for that. And then again, Star Wars Rise, Kylo Ren #1, second printing. Definitely something that I would call out. What else we got? Just a lot of continuing X-Force, X-Men, things like that. So let's go ahead then and move into Boom. Boom has Go-Go Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers trade, Power Rangers Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Ooh, unlocked. Black and white. Okay. This is where things get fun. So Boom is one of those publishers that likes to throw FOC variants out there. And one of the things that they've got is this Power Rangers Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 Unlocked Black and White Edition by Dan Mora. It's a really cool cover. It's black and red tones with black and white turtles. And I think that might be one of my picks. Additionally, we have Something Is Killing the Children #5, which has an FOC cover that we don't have the art for, unfortunately, right now. But that is also an FOC exclusive. And that is all of Boom. What do we got here? Vault has Vagrant Queen Planet Called Doom #1 on FOC. And this is by Magdalene Visaggio with art by Jason Smith. So if you are a Mags fan, this is definitely a book that you're probably going to be interested in. Get ready, Vagrant Queen is back. Alida Alfair has finally managed to build a happy life until a mysterious man in an ancient white ship shows up and takes it all away. And hey, where the hell is Isaac? So I don't know how many of you were on the first series of that, but you may want to jump on if you weren't. I'm not going to go too deep into Dynamite. They have their standard fare of all sorts of, what do we got? Betty Page, George R.R. Martin's A Clash of Kings, so if you're a Game of Thrones fan, and Red Sonja Vampirella with 37 variant covers each. I kid, there's probably 10 variant covers for each. That's what Dynamite's got. Let's see here. Let's start going down a little farther. Let's get into that back half, into that little bit more tender meat. Aftershocks got Animosity and Baby Teeth ongoing issues, as well as Shoplifters Will Be Liquidated. Oni, what do we have here? Invader Zim, Kaiju Max, Rick and Morty. Valiant has Quantum and Woody #1. This is a book that is being pushed right now pretty hard. There are a couple of unique offerings if someone is so inclined. There is a 100 copy Fool's Gold issue, which is for every 100 copies of the A through D covers ordered, the retailer can get one of these Fool's Gold colored copies. That is a $200 pre-order book. And then the other thing that Valiant does is they have pre-order bundles. So if you order a certain set of issues ahead of the series launching, you'll get them at the discount, but you get a unique pre-order cover that you can only order ahead of the issues coming out. So this pre-order bundle is for issues 1 through 4, and $15.96 is a standard retail price. The discounted price that I have is $10.37. Covers you for all 4 issues, and again, they cannot be ordered, so I cannot go out and add, say, FOC for #2 pre-order bundle. Doesn't work. You have to pre-order the whole bundle ahead of time. So that's pretty cool. Pretty neat way to get limited covers. Zenoscope, Bell Oath of Thorns #4, and Zora Rise of the Old Gods #4 is a back half book. So that's really it for FOC. Fairly sizable, 275 items, most of them being Marvel. Just because of the couple weeks off, DC had a decent showing, but not a ton of stuff. So now, to figure out what the heck am I going to pick as my FOC pick for you all to go for. I think I'm going to go with the Boom Power Rangers Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 Unlock Black and White Edition. So if you are looking for an FOC book to get, that's the one I'm going to pick. I know Drew and Kyle usually don't do that. They just kind of go through everything. But I figured, what the heck? I'm steering the ship, so we're going down my highway. All right. That is your FOC. Now, let us just go ahead and segue right on over to the books that are coming out January 8th. And I will pull them up once I can get to the right spot on the web page. Everybody goes to a slightly different view for looking at what they're going to see. Me, I don't know what view I'm going to. I think I'm going to go into Diamond and actually take a look at there and just see what we have, what's coming out. So let's get into Diamond. Let's go into the new books that are coming out. And let's pull up what we have hitting shelves. New releases. Boom. We want January 8th. And we are going to show... Wait, what? Oh, Diamond crashed. That's great. Well, let's see if Previews World is working. This could be really interesting, couldn't it, folks? .com. We want new releases. And we want to go to new releases for January 8th. Perfect. Go to table view like Kyle likes to do. Alrighty. Let's start at the top with Image Comics. We have a #1, Clock #1, which is a new miniseries premiere from Matt Hawkins and Colleen Doran. And within 3 weeks, hundreds of millions of healthy people worldwide contract various forms of aggressive cancer, and the proliferation, seemingly a viral outbreak, stumps the best scientific minds available. But after a leading cancer researcher loses his wife and watches his 9-year-old daughter begin to succumb to the same illness, he must race against the clock to end a global conspiracy that could propel the world straight into World War III or worse. Definitely one that we had a decent amount of pre-orders for, so I would say that might be one you want to take a look at. Philadelphia #1 has a second printing coming out. We saw a lot of heat on the local comic shop day variant and the 1/25, I think it was, Philadelphia cover, so there may be a little bit of heat on this Philadelphia 1 second print. What else we got here? Just a couple of other ongoing things. So you got a Moonshine, Oblivion Song, Postal, Pretty Deadly Rat, Sonata, all ongoing titles coming out from Image. Not a big week for Image or for IDW and Dark Horse for that matter. Dark Horse, we've got Butcher of Paris #2, Criminal Macabre #2, ElfQuest Stargazers #2, and here we go, Kill Whitey Donovan #2. Let's see if we got any new character appearances here. Hattie and Anna know that executing their plan to kill Whitey Donovan would be difficult, but they never anticipated the path to find him would be a literal inferno of war hunted by the evil Tyson and his devil dogs. Attacked by Confederate soldiers with no allies yet to be found, can they possibly survive long enough to find the vengeance they so desperately seek? Sounds great. The first issue was pretty dang good, so I don't expect anything else. Ooh, Stranger Things Into the Fire. If you're a Stranger Things fan, we've got a new issue, a #1 of 4, a 4-issue miniseries called Stranger Things Into the Fire coming out. Could be fun. What else? That's about it for Dark Horse. IDW, Dying is Easy #2, G.I. Joe #269. Any of you My Little Pony fans out there, we got issue #85 coming out this week, and TMNT Ongoing #101. So that will do it for those. Let's switch ourselves over to DC Comics and see what we've got here. Right off the bat, Batman 86. This is James Tynion IV's first issue. It's a new day in Gotham, but not the same old Batman. With Bane vanquished and one of his longtime allies gone, Batman has to start picking up the pieces and stepping up his game. Batman has a new plan for Gotham City, but he's not the only one. Deathstroke has returned as well under a mysterious new contract that could change everything. Beginning a whole new chapter in the life of the Dark Knight, the epic art team of Tony Daniel and Danny Mickey are joined by new series writer James Tynion IV. This could be an interesting one to pick up, just because the first one, we don't know what kind of tone James is going to set. I'm hopeful that it's going to be great. He's a nice guy. He's a local kid from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, so of course he's going to be championed and cheered on by us. But let's see what else we got here. Catwoman 19, this cardstock variant by Ian McDonald is just fantastic. I'm not honestly too familiar with Ian McDonald, but if you are the kind of person who really gets into some of the older Archerm covers, like the Batgirl, I think it's issue 12, 18, I can't remember which one it is off the top of my head, maybe it's 13, but there's a couple of really iconic Batgirl covers that Archerm did. This has a very similar vibe, real nice look, and of course those cardstock covers, they cost $1 more, but boy, they do not get damaged nearly as easily, so I would recommend looking into that one. We have Daphne Byrne #1 coming out of the Hill House comics, and this is in the gaslit splendor of late 19th century New York. Rage builds inside 14-year-old Daphne. The sudden death of her father has left her alone with her irresponsible, grief-stricken mother, who becomes easy prey for a group of occultists promising to contact her dead husband. While fighting to disentangle her mother from these charlatans, Daphne begins to sense a strange, insidious presence in her own body, an entity with unspeakable appetites. What does brother want, and could she even stop him if she tried? The Hill House books have all been winners. They've all been fantastic, whether it's written by Joe Hill or not. I highly recommend them, so this is definitely one that you're probably going to want to look for. Along those same lines, Dollhouse Family #3 is coming out. Another Hill House book. Great book. Let's see here. The Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy cardstock covers, not as good as some of the earlier ones, but they're decent. What do we got? Hawkman 20, House of Whispers, Supergirl 38 with a cardstock by, I want to say, Derek Chu. Yep. Another fantastic artist. Got surprised everybody. Harley Quinn doing variant, I think, of issue 57 or 58 that spiked in price. Derek's been doing Supergirl covers for a little while, similar in the Archerm style of New Age versus kind of the Archerm of old, like I was saying with Ian McDonald. But again, cardstock cover, a little bit nicer, thicker paper, doesn't damage as well, so could be one worth picking up. Swamp Thing Bronze Age volume, trade paperback #2, and Young Justice #12. Okay, well that rounds out DC. Not as much coming out this week. It seems like a thin DC week, but that's okay. Marvel's got your back. They've got everything. Along with a number of trades, there are, let's see, looks like a couple of Spider-Man items right off the bat. We've got Amazing Mary Jane 4, Amazing Spider-Man 37. What do we got here? Let's kind of dig down a little bit deeper. Deadpool #2. I want to find some really good stuff. We've got tons of items going on here. What do we got? Mortal Hulk #29. Giant monsters have been unleashed in Phoenix, Arizona. The Roxxon Corporation is unavailable for comment. People need help. They need the crusading outlaw with a heart of gold they read about in the Herald. They need their secret hero. Instead, they're getting the Immortal Hulk. That could be fun. Such a great title, the way that's being written. Just fantastic. What do we got? Marvel's Avengers Thor #1. This is part of the Gamerverse. Got Marvel's X #1. And we're starting to get some of the end titles. We have Miles Morales here. Got Morbius #3. Winds of Ravencroft Carnage #1. Ooh, Star #1. Alright, here we go. Born of the Reality Stone, the breakout character from Captain Marvel flies solo. Ambitious reporter Ripley Ryan rocked New York City when she became the hero Star, adored by everyone. But in truth, she was Dr. Minerva's attempt at a Kree-human super soldier. Desperate for the strength to control her own destiny, she tried to kill Captain Marvel and failed. Ripley was left defeated and powerless in the raft, or so she thought. The Reality Stone has found her, and now no prison can hold her. You thought you knew what the Infinity Stones were capable of. Think again. Obviously, we know this isn't a first appearance book, but I think it definitely could have a little bit of heat on it. And, more than anything, there's a J. Scott Campbell variant for this book, and I'm pretty sure that this was open to order, so the price should not be crazy. If your LCS is charging you more than cover price for those open to order books, you have every right to walk out of there with disgust. But yeah, so I would say that one you're going to want the J. Scott Campbell variant of Star #1. And I am just going to do a quick check in Diamond to make sure. That is correct. It is an open order, so you should not have to worry about having to overpay for it. Let's see, what else we have here going on in Marvel. We've got... Symbiote, Spider-Man, Venom. Venom. Yes, Venom. Venom's always doing well. Venom 21 sold out fast. It was Venom Island Part 1, I believe. This is Venom Island Part 2. Donny Cates' Venom epic continues in grand fashion after Absolute Carnage, joined by industry legend and celebrated Venom artist Mark Bagley. That's all you're getting out of us for this one. So, of course, Bagley on art. Just huge force on Venom. Known for his Venom faces, especially doing a lot of sketch covers and stuff like that. So, highly recommend it. Ooh, boy, Star, that was a good one. Dynamite. What do we got in Dynamite? Kind of our standard fare, like I typically said. A lot of Red Sonja, Vampirella, Elvira, stuff like that. We have Red Sonja number 12 with a Linsner cover B. Can't go wrong with Linsner, just like you can't go wrong with Perillo. We have A Vengeance of Vampirella, which has a Perillo cover. I'm going to say that out of Dynamite, you're probably going to want to pick up one of those if you're looking for a spec out of Dynamite, either your Perillo or your Linsner. Linsner is the Red Sonja 12. Perillo is your Vengeance of Vampirella number 4. Let's jump on down to Boom. Boom's got kind of its standard fare, and I think what Kyle would probably want me to call out is the Power Rangers TMNT number 2, and of course Dan Moore, the A cover. But we also have the full cover set of different turtles holding the Power Rangers helmets. We've got the Donatello, Leonardo, Michelangelo, and Raphael ones as well. And then a series that I've been enjoying is Strange Skies Over East Berlin number 4. That's coming out. So if you've been picking that up from Boom, you're going to want to be on the alert for that. What else we got? Dipping down here into some of the back half stuff. We got a lot of different comics and graphic novels. That is all sorts of stuff in here. Anything good, though? That's the real question. Ooh, Knights Temporal. Number 5 from Aftershock. Lady Death Nightmare. Ooh. Still not a whole lot coming out. I think we're still coming off of the new year. Oh, here we go. Red Agent Island of Dr. Moreau. I want to say that this is a Zenescope book. It is. So, still in the Red and Averill are lured out of hiding by Rubicon, a sinister government agency that has taken the place of the Highborn Initiative. In order to clear their names, they must track down the woman responsible for an attack on high-tech genetics lab Dr. Helena Moreau and her vicious animal-human hybrids. Don't miss the beginning of this exciting new series, inspired by H.G. Wells' classic novel. So, the one little thing that I'll say about Zenescope is the cover does not match the interiors. If you are, look at their cover and go, I don't know if I need that kind of art on my inside of my book. That's not what it looks like. The covers are different. Why they do it that way, don't know. But what I have found is that the Zenescope books are well written. By and large, they are very interesting, and the Zenescope is most notably known for its Grimm universe. And also their Wonderland universe. So if you are a big fan of kind of the Grimm fairy tale books or Alice in Wonderland and some of the extended pieces of those franchises, I would definitely recommend checking out Zenescope. Lots of good stuff there. We got Robotech, Scratcher, Unbound, V-Card number 104. Will Vampire's 380-year-long dry spell come to an end with a bite to the neck or stake to the heart? Jonathan Tuttle is about to find out after being mistaken for a human by the great vampire killer and his beautiful daughter Talia. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think Jonathan Tuttle was the name of a character on MASH who never actually existed, but they had I think they had Dr. Tuttle. Anyways, if you're a MASH fan, you might know what I'm talking about. But this is from Antarctic Press. It's a number 1. That could be interesting. Let's see here. What else? going to say that might take us to the end of anything. Oh, what's this one here? What's this one? Interesting. I'm not too sure what Previews World is going on. I have selected the 8th. However, this is showing up there with an in-shop date of January 29th, and that is White Ash #1 from Scout. So I would say if you see it, pick it up. If you don't, I would say Previews World is wrong. Big shocker, right? Okay, well, the other thing that I want to do is see if we can figure out where our variants are. Something that I like to look at are what variants are coming out. Let's see here. What do we got for ship dates of 1/8/20? Okay. Second printings, boring, right? Let's see. Should usually have some. There we go. We got some Vampire Slayer, Buffy the Vampire Slayer variants from Boom. Firefly, Go-Go. Magicians. Let's work our way down here. Let's see if we can get some good stuff. Yeah, it's DC. We already went through those. Dynamite, we know those. But what we really want to see is what's in Marvel, right? Because that's where they have a lot of the 1 in 10s, a lot of 1 in 25s. What you're going to find is that's where we tend to see. Oh, here we go. Yes. Okay, so one of the other hot books recently that came out was Marvel Action Spider-Man, and I think it was number 10 or 11 was the first appearance of Venom in the Marvel Action Spider-Man books, and that 1 in 10, which you could have bought from me for $10, is frequently going for $50+ right now on eBay. The subsequent 1 in 10s have obviously received a few more orders, but are still going in the $20 to $30 range. So you might want to keep an eye on those. Those are coming out from IDW, but just keep an eye on them because you never know if there's something good on the cover. That could mean something worth picking up. Alright, Marvel. We have the Gonzalez cover for Amazing Mary Jane #4. What else do we have? That one doesn't speak to me too much. That one doesn't either. Okay. Conan Serpent War has a couple of ratio variants if you're interested in those. Deadpool #2 has a Mirka Andolfo cover. Mirka Andolfo, of course, has been really doing a lot of her own publishing. She did, what was the one? It was the Pig Girl and the Wolf Man. Unearthed? Something like that, maybe. And then she's got Unsacred coming out right now. So she's kind of been a little bit of a hot commodity. And she is doing a variant on... excuse me. She's doing a variant on Deadpool #2 that's coming out. And I'm just going to check the... It's an open... What the heck? Come on. Diamond is just crashing all over on me. I apologize, folks. I'm trying to do my best. It's a 1 in 25. And fairly interesting cover. Kind of a fantastical monster with lots of teeth trying to catch Deadpool. What else we got here? Excalibur has some stuff. Fallen Angels Ghost Rider has a design variant that is classified. Ooh, we should see if that was a ratio one. There's so many of them I can't keep them all straight, so I have to look them up. 1 in 10 for that Ghost Rider Aaron Cooter design variant. Some of these have proven to be really great sellers. I think one of the ones off the top of my head that I can think of is the Crush design variant. That's a DC book, but that one was a 1 in 10, but sold for $50, $60 at one point. So that's a great one to keep an eye out for. Tons and tons of variants for Marvel's X. There's the Alex Ross Virgin, which is definitely going to be a higher ratio. A Steve Ditko Hidden Gem, which is a Hobgoblin cover. Absolutely fantastic. Those have been going for, I think those have been 1 in 100s. Let me just do a quick double check on that for you. I don't want to lie. Yep, 1 in 100. So if you see that, chances are you're going to see it for $100 to $200, which is to be expected. But great Hobgoblin cover. We have a Leon Party variant. So if the store that you purchase from has opted into the party, they'll have that, which also means there could be a Premier or Party Sketch variant. That would be a 1 per store. Worth checking out, of course. What else do we have here? Star number 1, like I said, just a ton of variants. We've got the J. Scott Campbell, which is an open order. There's a J. Scott Campbell Virgin. We also have a Ji Hyung Lee variant. It's a great looking cover. A Pepe Larraz cover, not bad. And a Remnar cover. I don't even know who the Remnar cover is, or who she, who they are. But that's a pretty striking cover. I'm going to check the ratio on that one. That could be... It's a puzzle piece looking thing. It's a 1 in 25. Really, really neat looking cover. Valentina Reminar. I'm going to say that's probably a female. Very beautiful cover. And just because you didn't ask, let's look at what that ratio is for that J. Scott Campbell Virgin. I'm guessing it's a 1 in 100 or 1 in 200. So 1 in 200. So if you want the Virgin J. Scott Campbell Star number 1, it's 1 in 200. You're probably going to pay between 200 to 350 for it, depending on who you're getting it from. Let's see, Star Wars Kylo Ren mirror variant. This could be an interesting one. So there's a 1 in 25 variant, Jody Muir, on the Star Wars Rise of Kylo Ren number 2, and it is basically a photorealistic cover of Kylo, but it's a split. So the right half of the cover is him wearing his Kylo Ren black, I don't know what you call it, padded, pleated upper top, and then the left half is wearing white Jedi robes, obviously as Ben Solo. So that's a pretty cool one. What else do we have here? That's really about it. A couple other little things here and there. So, variants had some pretty cool stuff. What am I going to pick as my spec pick of the week? It's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. I kind of like I definitely like the Star number 1 from Marvel, just because I feel like she's going to have enough heat behind her. But it is Marvel, so there's always plenty of extra books like that to go around. Kill Whitey Donovan number 1 was a big book. Is number 2 going to be there? I don't think so, because I think it was really built off of the fact that it was optioned shortly after it came out. Daphne Byrne number 1 from DC. That's definitely that one's up there. What do you guys think? You're right. Sounds good. We should go with that book. Well, you know what? I think I just have to make a couple of picks. So since Drew and Kyle aren't here, I'm going to make multiple picks. I'm going to say book number 1 out of DC Comics is going to be the Catwoman number 19 cardstock variant. It's that Ian McDonald cover. I think it's a fantastic one. I think at some point that could start to see a little bit of heat. I am going to say from Marvel Comics, let's get that Star number 1 J. Scott Campbell open to order variant. I think that's going to be a good one. And let's pick something more from the back half, huh? Let's go with, well, it's not really, it's still a Premier Publisher, so maybe I'll pick 4. I'm going to say keep your eye out for the, what was that one? Oh, no, it's not Boom. I'm thinking of the FOC. So I'm going to go to the back half, and we're going to go with, for our third and final pick, let's go with, it's so hard because there's so many good things, even on a small week. Let's go ahead and take V-Card number 1 from Antarctic Press. Let's go for it. Let's do it. Sounds good. Even though it says that it's in shops December 18th, it's on this release, so it must have been late. But I think it sounds fun. Vampires, kind of a fun cover. Let's do it. So again, our spec picks are going to be from DC Comics. It's going to be Catwoman number 19 cardstock variant. From Marvel, it's going to be Star number 1, J. Scott Campbell. And from the back half, we're going to go for that V card number 1 from Antarctic Press. So, I apologize that I'm not Drew and Kyle, and I don't have the friendly banter going back and forth that they have. I appreciate you guys hanging with me. I hope that you will come back and listen to the podcast again. And hopefully the boys are back next week, cured from their illnesses and vacations or whatever else they have going on, and you don't have to listen to me ramble. So, with that, I shall bid you all a very fond farewell. Thank you again, and as Kyle likes to say, see ya.